Good morning, everyone. This is Kelly from The Way Home, and today I'm going to be making chicken a la king with over biscuits, and I would love you to come along and watch if you like. So I'm going to be starting right now. First of all, I'm going to be putting in some chicken broth in my frying pan. And you just pour the amount that you might like. And I'm using half and half. To make my broth. In the meantime, I'm going to be sauteing up my onions to put in with it. Turning my burners on. I'm going to be putting a stick of butter, 4 ounces of butter, and I will be stirring that up. Quite some time ago, I learned how to make chicken a la king. It was one of the favorites for my family. Just stirring up my onions so they just get sauteed a little bit. In the meantime, while my broth, the butter is melting, the milk is in, the butter is in, and the broth, I'm going to be adding some flavoring. I'm going to be adding about a half a teaspoon of lemon butter, about a teaspoon of pepper, about a teaspoon of garlic, excuse my fingers, I forgot my teaspoon. My parsley, a teaspoon of parsley, teaspoon and a half of parsley. And I love using Old Bay, and Old Bay has like 7 seasonings in it. And I'm using about a teaspoon and a half of Old Bay. And I'll be stirring all of that in. I will be adding some salt because the broth, the beef broth I'm going to put in there, or the chicken broth, is going to have some salt in it. So I'm adding all these ingredients and stirring. And I have to put my flour in so that, excuse me, so that I can thicken my sauce. I'm using about approximately a cup. And I'll stir that in. It's a pretty simple meal, and it makes a great dish for dinner. I'll turn it's starting to thicken up and boil. In the meantime, my onions are still sauteing just slightly. I'm going to taste it a little, and I forgot my spoon. I'm going to take and put a little bit of chicken bouillon in there. Going to turn my onions off. I'm going to taste test this to see how it tastes. Very, very good. I'm going to add more half and half. To make sure that I have enough for my veggies that are going to be going in there. Come closer. It's thickening up very nice. You've got to come in closer. I'm kind of short, so things get a little bit, especially since I'm in my walker, things are a little more difficult, but I can do it and I'm determined to do it. So I've added my onions. I'm adding my chicken. Probably about approximately a cup of chicken. Going to add peas, carrots, and corn to it. So what this is, it's a meal in itself. And after this, I will be making the biscuits. I will add the rest of the chicken, because it looks like it could use a little more. You've got to come in closer. Now this is the ending result. And I'll have my daughter bring the screen in closer to see what it looks like. And so this is the chicken a la king. So I'm also going to be making biscuits. If you want to come along while I make the biscuits, that would be nice. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm still chopping and folding in my flour and ingredients. And this here is supposed to be like crummy, which it has turned out to be. So now I'm going to add some milk. This is buttermilk. And what I did is, it's buttermilk, but I added some vinegar to my milk, and I have a little half a cream in there. I'm gonna mix this up. It takes a little bit of time to do this. There's nothing like biscuits for many things. Now, as you can see, it's starting to come together. I will be adding a little more milk. disabilities with my shoulders and my back, it gets a little hard at times, but I'll just keep going. Now it looks like it's a pretty nice consistency. So now, excuse me 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I put my flour on my board, and I'm going to go ahead and put my dough onto the dough is just feeling wonderful. I do need more flour, but oh, you do get some. So now I'm going to take this excess and drop it back into the bowl out of the way. While I roll out my dough, which is feeling absolutely wonderful. More flour, turn over my dough, there is my dough. I'm going to be cutting it out now. And I put parchment paper on my sheet pan. Some of my dough back because it was getting a little thinner. I haven't made this in some time, so I'm sure it's going to turn out wonderful. I have some more dough left here, which I'm going to roll up. So I got 12 biscuits out of this. I'm going to go ahead and put a little buttermilk over the top of each one. And that'll help them to brown. As I say, the buttermilk is supposed to help them to turn brown a little bit. Just put a little on the tops. Now I'm going to put these in the oven on 350 for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'll be back and we will share some chicken a la king over biscuits. Up.
Yeah.
Bob!
Let's eat! Come on!
Oh my God.